And welcome to our workshop on the circle of security. I'm Jennifer and I am the instructor. Today, I am also the program manager for Raising Healthy Families at ISIS. First, let's explain what the circle of security is. It is a framework for understanding young children's behavior and to help parents better understand their role in developing healthy attachment and secure children. So, within the circle of security, we can think of the inside of the circle as a place where the child feels safest, and that is likely you. When the child leaves that circle of security, they go out into the world to explore, play, and learn, hopefully at a developmentally appropriate level. When they feel the need for comfort and reassurance, they return to the caregiver, and in the best case scenario, the caregiver provides that comfort. Or it might be something more like engagement or enjoyment. So, in this model, the caregiver's role is to watch over their child as they leave that circle, um, and then to be available when the child returns to them for comfort and reassurance. So, their role is to watch over them, to delight in them when they come back and have something interesting to show the parent or caregiver, help them if they have gotten stuck outside of the circle of security, enjoy them as they are discovering the world, welcome them back when they need that reassurance and protection, and provide comfort as needed. So, we're going to dive into a few real life examples here. Okay, so Timothy is a little boy. He is having a really hard time at a play date with friends. Um, his mother is there. She is talking to other adults. Something upsets Timothy as he's playing with other kids. He runs to the couch and buries his head in the couch. Mom sees what's happening. She comes over. She notices because she's been watching. Timothy wants to stay with his head buried in the couch. Instead of forcing Timothy to go back, play with his friends who are at the play date, his mother just stays close and empathizes with him, lets him know it's okay to be overwhelmed sometimes, it's okay to be scared or worried. And then eventually, Timothy is able to lift his head up, to take a few breaths with mom, and then to return to the play with these other friends. So, mom did a lot of things right in this situation. She noticed, even though Timothy had not come back to her for uh, for reassurance and support, she noticed that he needed it in this moment. So she came to him. Instead of pushing him back out of the circle of security, she noticed that he just needed her presence and empathy while he was able to co regulate with her. And then he was able to return to the fun play. Okay, here is another example. Um, Mom and Joseph, who's 2.5, are sitting outside in their backyard. Mom is reading a book, and Joseph goes out to play. He picks a flower and brings it back to her. Mom is very immersed in her book and um, decides not to really look up and just takes the flower from Joseph. And when he goes back out to play, she notices that, or he notices that she has just thrown the flower onto the ground. Um, this is an example of not being that circle of security. This is not a huge problem. In these moments, we can see how we could do a little better. Um, Joseph, outside of his circle of security, found something that he thought his mom would enjoy, brought it back to her. In this role, mom could be delighting uh, in this sweet treasure that he brought. This communicates that he is loved uh, and he is delighted in. Um, okay, last example. Caleb is 5 years old. Um, he is at a birthday party. He is eating a lot of cake at this birthday party. Um, he took more than he was allowed, and mom stepped in and said, we need a smaller piece. Of course, Caleb did not like this. In this situation, mom had to be the circle of security by setting limits while also offering empathy by saying she knows that he would like to have more cake. Unfortunately, that's not the healthy choice. Um, so the circle of security doesn't always mean that things feel good. However, children do need our limits while we can also provide empathy for them. So even if we have to set a limit that our child doesn't like, they will still feel the security of us holding that boundary. Okay. If you have ever seen the old movie Jaws, you are probably familiar with the shark music. Whenever the shark is coming into the scene, the viewer hears dun 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 dun, and that means impending danger. Um, we can think of shark music when we are when we are with our children and possibly experiencing our own triggers from past experiences. Children's behavior, especially if it's dysregulated, can bring up our old fears, can bring up our own dysregulation. Um, but when we take the time to pause and notice when our shark music is coming on, that could be um, we notice that the situation is escalating. We might notice that our own breath is getting shallow. Maybe we're clenching our hands. There are a lot of body tells that we can tune into for ourselves as well as for our children so that when we hear that shark music, we can step into the role of protector and supporter and um, and we can make choices that help us bring our own escalation down so that we are able to provide that security for our child and not lose our own cool. Okay, why does circle of security matter? So, you might have heard of the term secure attachment. This is a whole different subject, which we have another workshop on. But secure attachment really means that a child has a connection with their caregiver, their primary caregiver at least, and hopefully two caregivers. Um, and this is what gives them the basis to feel secure in the world, to be able to take risks, to have positive self esteem, and feelings of ability and capacity. Without this secure attachment, children often struggle in many different ways socially, intellectually, academically. Um, if secure attachment is not in place, the child has um, one or more styles of insecure attachment. This can stem from frightening or inconsistent caregiving in the early years. So, creating this environment of secure attachment in the early years and having the circle of security be intact is incredibly important for all the years to come. If these things are not in place, things like aggression, troubling behavior, academic struggles, and low self esteem can occur. Okay. Some practical strategies that I'm going to leave you with here. Um, our children are still learning and growing. Their brains are still not fully developed until they are 25 years old. There is a lot of construction happening. We cannot have the same expectations of them that we have of an adult. So, we, the adult and the provider in this relationship, must be bigger, stronger, wiser, and kind. So, in a situation that is resulting in a power struggle or a meltdown, we must take on the role of being bigger, stronger, wiser, and kind. Um, Even when our children are not able to show those qualities themselves, we still have to remain that consistent person for them. Children need soothing. This is not just for babies. Children need soothing throughout their childhoods and beyond. If we think about ourselves and in our own romantic relationships or familial relationships, we adults often need soothing too when we have a hard day or our boss yelled at us. Um, and so it is still our job to soothe our children throughout childhood and to watch for those hidden cues of distress. Remember shark music, those things before their full blown meltdowns. There are often many cues to alert us beforehand. Provide predictable routines for bedtime and meals, also consistent caregiving and caregivers. This helps children relax into things and know that they don't have to be on high alert because their routines are predictable and so are the adults in their lives. Um, Expect repeated reassurance needs. Our children aren't just going to learn the first time, the second time, or the 10th time. They're going to need lots of reassurance again and again and again. Repetition, what builds the brain. And finally, remember that behind a meltdown is a request for connection. Our children are not giving us a hard time, they're having a hard time. So if we can switch our point of view to remember that when our children misbehave, it's really a sign that they need more connection and co regulation with us, then we will better be able to provide for them that circle of security. And as always, if you have any more questions, please reach out to us at Raising Healthy Families at ISIS. We are here to help. Thank you.